You've got to see this game. It is absolutely spectacular. Jan-Krzysztof Duda against Anish Giri from the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour finals taking place at the moment. So it's a rapid play game. Starts out very regular opening. This is a Ragozin, and this actually leads to a real imbalance. Loads of ways you can play this with white, but Duda, I think, puts his finger on one of the problems of the Ragozin, is that this bishop has come out here instead of e7, and that means that this pin is a bit annoying. So black has to find creative ways of dealing with this. And Giri goes for knight d7, rook c1, supporting that knight. Duda knows what's coming next, because here is where black gets very creative in pushing that bishop away. So the pin is annoying, but you play g5, and then the knight leaps into the e4 square. So there's a bit of pressure here. Also looks at this bishop. So black is very, very active here. However, black has advanced with pawn to g5. And that weakens black's kingside. Oh yes, watch out, watch out. Queen b3. So this solves the problem here. So this pin is very annoying. So white solves that problem. Giri takes, gains time in exchanging, and now black has another move. And knight b6 looks very reasonable, supporting this. Looks at the c4 square. e3. So this is all very regular for white. Nice pawn structure. But there is one problem, and it's that bishop on g3, h5. So we've got a really sharp position on the board. Black is chasing down the bishop. And if it moves to e5, then f6 will win it. So how should white deal with this? So I think this is a very typical kind of position for the Ragozin. It's really dynamic. White's position looks very solid. Black's king is still in the middle. These pawns look a bit ragged. However, if you win a piece, all well and good. Now, white could play just h4 here. But you can see that once that pawn is advanced, then this can be taken. And black has a little something to bite on here. But this is playable for white. But, I think I would be happier with black here, because that king is about to escape. Looks pretty cozy on the queen side. And then these pawns look a bit ragged. So this is where Duda starts to play in a very bold way. c4. In fact, it turns out he's played in this way before. It's interesting. I don't know if Giri realised that actually. So c4. And here's the interesting bit. What happens if this is taken? Well, not bishop c4, but queen b5 check is a sneaky move. And if bishop d7, queen e5, whoops, double attack. So instead of that, Giri plows on and wins this piece. Now it pops into e5, f6, that bishop is trapped. But watch what happens. Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes bishop, knight, oh, well, sorry, check first. Beg your pardon, check first. You could throw the bishop in the way. I mean, that's possible. But king f8. Now, knight takes pawn. So, I mean, this looks like an amazing centre for white. Black is a piece up, though. Now, previously, Duda has faced queen takes d5. This was against Yu Yang. And, well, the game careered on like this. I mean, this looks like it could be fun for white, but Yu Yang managed to actually draw that one. But instead, after this one, Giri played king g7, so he wants to keep his material. He wants to keep his extra piece. But this starts to get very tricky. Bishop d3. Attacks the knight. Knight comes back, and now castle's kingside. So let's try and take stock. Well, first of all, let's compare the two king positions. White's king completely safe behind these pawns. Black's king, well, I'd quite like to move both those pawns back, actually. What about the centre? Beautiful centre for white. Beautiful pawn centre. And those the minor pieces also very good. The rook looks down at c7. And white's position is absolutely beautiful. The only problem is black has a knight. But white has two pawns. I mean, just on a very strict material basis. But, I mean, white's pieces are just wonderfully placed here. I mean, it's fantastic compensation. And, yes, I'm going to say it, black's rooks are split. And this is the real problem. How do you get that queen's rook into play? It's very difficult. Because that queen is tied to defending the c-pawn. This bishop doesn't have any very good place to go to. Giri staggered on with g4, trying to create some counterplay on the king side. f4. Excellent move. Now, if that's exchanged off. Well, now we can see the benefit of keeping your rooks together. Then they are going to invade on the f-file. And these rooks simply cannot challenge. It won't be long before the queen comes in as well. So up to f4, that wasn't taken. Rook f8, that stops f5 for the moment. But wow, this is, what a pawn storm. They're just rolling through the middle. It's just a steamroller. g3, again, Giri trying to stir things up. But, of course, white is not going to take. That would allow the queen some fun. Instead, just f5. And if that's taken, well, the king can always just pop in the corner. And what if black tries bishop d7, trying to sort of connect here? Rook f4. Followed by rook g4. The second rook can come to f1 and it must be winning. So after f5, queen g5 played. Allowing rook takes c7 check. So Giri trying to get counterplay. Very cool move now. Bishop b1. The queen covers here and the queen can switch over. So now how many pawns is it? 3 pawns. It feels like white's got about 6 pawns for the piece. But anyway, I mean, it's just a beautiful position. Queen f3. Good move. The queen switches over into the danger zone. Of course, if this is taken, then it's going to lead to checkmate very quickly. Supported by that wonderful rook on c7. Queen f3, just played. Giri desperately trying to bring the queen's rook into play by giving up his extra piece. Check. King here. Once again, queen e5 will lead to mate in exactly the same way. I mean, there are some nice variations here. Giri brings his queen's rook into play. Okay, over to you. Time for a quick slurp tea. Time for you to think, how does white win from this position? White to play. How did Duda continue from here? This is absolutely spectacular. And this is the reason we're looking at this game. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? White to play. Boom! This deserves a boom, definitely. King takes. f6 check. No, I'm just going to go with the game continuation. King h6. White is a whole rook down. Watch what happens. Check. because of that bishop. The king has to come up the board. Boom! Queen f5 check. Played by Duda. Takes, takes. And if king takes g4, h3 is mate. Beautiful stuff. In the game, Giri put the king back on g6. But it's mate anyway. Rook e5 check. Here Giri resigned. It's a pity. He could have gone to mate. Let's just see how it works. Check. Here. Check. And rook h7. Again supported by that bishop tucked away at the other side of the board. Spectacular checkmate. Frankly, I wish Giri had just taken on g4. I think that would have been very generous to Duda. But in any case, watching this, Duda had a big smile on his face. In fact, he had a big smile on his face right from this position. Rook g7 check. Let's just dot the i's and cross the t's. What about king h8? Just f6. Unleashing this one. Protecting the rook. And then, you know, it's all winning basically. And if we come back here, if the king goes back, then check. That's a nice winning move. Check. And what's the mate? What's the mate? Knight e7. There we are. But I'm going to leave it in that position. Because that's how it should have ended, really. But many congratulations to Jan-Krzysztof Duda. To find this in a rapid play game, I think is incredibly impressive. I mean, in a way, it's a fairly straightforward piece of calculation, but still, you have to go very deeply and you have to have real confidence to explore this variation with rook g7, because it could just be a massive waste of time. And there are plenty of other ways to play. But yeah, beautiful stuff. I'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching.